Hey, I'm Steve Miletto, and you found my place for providing resources for classroom teachers and building administrators. And today I'm talking about getting better at listening during a parent conference or meeting. Hey, so glad you joined me today. Glad that you're watching. And in a previous video, I talked about preparing for a meeting with parents and making sure that you come prepared for that meeting. And one of the things I talked about was that you have to learn how to be a better listener. I can't tell you enough about parents often feel put off by meetings because they believe that when they come in, no one's going to listen to them. And not only are they not going to listen to them, they're not going to give them time to talk. So they're just prepared to be angry. Well, you can end that right off the bat by when you set up the meeting, when they arrive, you say, hey, glad that you could come join me, and looking forward to talking with you about Steve and how Steve's doing in my class. But before we do that, I just wanted to give you a chance to talk with me a little bit about any concerns that you have or anything that you want to make me aware of. Oh, you give a parent a chance like that, and now granted, you maybe have to prepare to be there for a little bit, but they're not used to that. And for many of them, they'll kind of go, well, yeah, I don't know what to say. Well, that's okay. Maybe you'll think of something while we move on. And some of them will have something to say right off the bat. Just depends on the reason for the meeting. But the point is, by giving them a chance to talk first, you're giving them a chance to talk. Now, when they talk, you got to listen. And one of the ways of getting better at listening is to basically say to the person, now let me make sure that I say a little bit about what you're talking about. So I hear you talking with me about, that Steve is coming home. You feel like he's got too much homework, especially on the weekend, and wondering if there's anything we could do about that because he goes between families. He goes from, you're divorced and you got different places, and you just wanted to know if there's some way, maybe even ahead of time, he could do some of the work instead of having it just on the weekend. And I understand that. And so maybe let's see what we can do to work through that. You have a conversation like that. That's a conversation. You're saying back to them what you heard them asking for. Now try not to go with the clinical thing. The clinical psychobabble thing goes like this. So let me repeat back to you, because what I believe you're saying to me is the following. Don't talk like that. That's not the way people talk. People say things like this. Okay, I just want to make sure that that I understand what you're asking for, and what I believe is that you believe that Steve has too much homework on the weekends, and one of the problems he's having is he's being shuttled between two families, and you're just asking if there's some way that he can get some of the work ahead of time. Is that right? Talk like a person with him, but you're also showing him that you're listening. Now, another way to show that you're listening is also to take notes. But before you take notes, ask if it's okay. And just tell them why you're doing it. I'm just going to write a few short things down that will help me remember what we talked about, because after this I get to go to soccer practice, or I get to go to theater practice or whatever, and I just want to make sure that I remember exactly what we talked about. So get their permission first, because I've started taking notes in some meetings and actually had somebody get offended by it, which I wasn't expecting. So just know that, ask first. So you got to get better at listening, because when you have a meeting with someone, the worst thing to do is make them feel like you brought them in to tell them, but not to listen to them. It's a two-way street. So take time to practice getting better at listening. Thanks for watching today. And by the way, don't forget that if you look over here, here's some other choices of videos that you might be interested in, as well as some playlists. And also want to remind you that I'd love to have you subscribe, follow my YouTube channel. And if you look, there's a little bell down here. See that little bell? Click on that little bell, and every time I upload, you'll get a notification. Thanks for watching. Glad you're here. Till next time.